from the Windy City. Tonight, ESPN2's continuing coverage of the National Hockey League presents the Blackhawks entertaining the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Levy, and welcome to Chicago, where you can't buy a ticket, but you can get plenty of optimism. The Hawks are off to a great start. Now, Anaheim, this is their 4th season. They don't have a whole lot of tradition. Two traditions they do have: they sell an awful lot of merchandise, and they continually get off to slow starts. Season doesn't truly begin until it begins here in Chicago. It does that tonight. Back-to-back games for the Mighty Ducks. So we'll see Mikhail Stolinkov in goal.
Mikhail Stolinkov turns 31 in a couple of weeks. This is his 2nd full season with Anaheim and his 1st start this year. Eddie Belfour at the other end of the ice, his 2nd start this season. He had an opening night winner against Washington. And Eddie, you know, he didn't play as many games last season, only 50, which is the fewest number he'd played in his career. But the way he finished down the stretch and in the playoffs, I would expect it would be that way this year too, Steve.
Our referee tonight is Kerry Frazier. Linesman tonight, Scott Driscoll, and the veteran Leon Stickle. You know, real old-time hockey in Chicago. No big ceremonies where they introduce all the players. They did something very classy tonight. They introduced and honored the U.S. team that won the World Cup with, of course, the coach of the World Cup, Ron Wilson, in attendance with his Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, short and sweet and to the point here in Chicago.
Talked to Jim DeMaria, the Blackhawks PR. I said, hey, our fans in Chicago, they know our players. And you will know them, too. Keith Carney and Chris Chelios start on defense. The forwards for Chicago: Kevin Miller, Denny Savard, and Bob Probert. Ed Belfour in goal, as you saw. Mikhail Stolinkov in goal for Anaheim. The Mighty Ducks line up with Bobby Dallas and Frederick Olofsson on defense. Joe Sacco, Steve Ruchin, and Alex Hicks are the forwards with Stolinkov in goal.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how rough this game is. Chicago has a pretty loaded lineup when they want to, with some physical guys. Anaheim much less so.
Ruchin behind the net, tried to find Olofsson. It just hopped over his stick, and it comes back out the center. And the Hawks move ahead. Denny Savard still trying to dip Ciuto through. Did for a second, but Steve Ruchin will get to it for Anaheim and throw up the wall. Cross, Carney keeps in. Waited too long to get it off. And the Mighty Ducks come back out at center. Olofsson leads the rush. Off for Hicks. He loses to Chelios. And Probert goes the other way. And he left for Kevin Miller offside at the Anaheim Mighty Blue Line, I should say. The Mighty Ducks blue line. Head coaches tonight mentioned Ron Wilson. His life will never be the same after leading the U.S. to the World Cup victory.
This guy's been on quite a roll. If you go back to the 2nd half of last year, the Ducks were the best team in the NHL the 2nd half. Then he goes to Europe and wins the bronze medal coaching the U.S. team. Then in September, a different U.S. team, he wins the World Cup championship. He's gained an awful lot of respect around the NHL.
Yari Curry is at center. This is the big line for Anaheim. The Mighty Ducks go with Yari Curry and Teemu Selanne. Of course, the Chicago coach, Craig Hartsburg, in his 2nd year here in Chicago.
Well, a lot has been made about the players who are not here anymore, what they've lost, but Craig Hartsburg was quick to add, we could have 10 40-goal scorers in our lineup, and we'd still stress defense is #1. So there you go. Chicago's usually played it that way, and they will continue to this season. So far, they're 2-0. Can't argue.
Same two will take the face-off. Murray Craven on the draw against Yari Curry. And Craven wins that face-off. Back to Gary Suter. Suter out ahead at center. He's checked by Selanne. James Black picks up the puck off for Tony Amonte. Here's Amonte. Works through a man. Couldn't break the check of Curry. Here's Craven behind the net. In front for Black. Oh, and shot blocked by Curry. And it pops over the net behind the cage. Here's Selanne for Anaheim. And the Mighty Ducks will break out. Ted Drury, the 3rd member of this big line for Anaheim. In front for Curry, couldn't handle, pass just a bit behind him, and Black will move ahead for Chicago. He will fire it off the glove of Stolinkov. He went left, and the puck went right.
Yeah, James Black shooting the old dark one in the blue line.
Kept in, shot on front, save, the rebound is free, but Black couldn't get to it. Thrown in front of the net, no Blackhawk there. And Selanne comes out ahead for Anaheim. Best chance of the hockey game so far.
James Black was the best chance so far. He had that shot in the slot already and a chance in close, but so far still a scoreless game.
Black throws ahead. Hawks will go for a change. Rolls inside the Anaheim zone. Brent Sutter on the big hit. Harper winds around the boards. Cam Russell forcing the play for Chicago. And the first big hit of the game is thrown by Ethan Moreau. Sutter spins away from the check. Leaves there for Prokopik. Back behind the net. The Ducks trying to clear and do.
Ethan Moreau showing what he's done so far in the first 2 games for the Hawks. He just ran over Jason Marshall. Marshall didn't like it a bit, but look for those 2 players as this game developed.
Moreau is checked. Back behind the net. Sutter has for Chicago. Throws in front, and Stalenkov will hold on with heavy traffic in front of the net.
Ethan Moreau, is he going to be the next Eric Daze? They're certainly hoping so. He changed the sweater number 19, as you pointed out earlier. He was wearing 17, but gave that to the newest Hawk, Basil McRae. Here's the hit on the last shift. Jason Marshall looking down. Ethan Moreau makes him pay. That's the kind of play you love from anybody on your team, but particularly a rookie coming in, trying to make the club. You want to stir things up, and I think that shows you exactly why Ethan Moreau is getting scoring chances. He has 1 goal in each of the first 2 games so far for the Hawks.
It's an interesting line. Craig Hartsburg putting a couple of kids, Prokopic and Moreau, on with Brent Sutter, the veteran.
Yeah, Brent Sutter is one of the best in the league to do that. He's been around a long time. He's experienced. Ethan Moreau told me he really enjoys playing with him, and he's helped settle him down early in his career here. Back behind the net, another young player you want to watch for tonight, Ruslan Saleh, in his 2nd National Hockey League game, number 5 in purple tonight for the Mighty Ducks. Sent inside the Chicago zone. Eddie Belfour, the first time he's touched the puck. Leaves there. Sergei Kurakasov back behind the net off for Chris Chelios, who will touch the puck quite often tonight. He will log plenty of ice time. Jeff Shantz inside the Anaheim zone. A little move there. Back behind the net for Cummins. Shot, quick one, saved by Stalenkov. It looks as if Anaheim's almost playing a zone defense inside their own blue line, and they better get going man for man pretty quick because they're giving up some scoring chances already, and a couple of chances here where Chicago could have made good passes and got a scoring chance. They didn't yet, but you know they will as the game goes on. Back for Bobby Dallas. Dallas wearing the Captain C. Paul Carrillo is named captain of the team heading into the training camp for the Mighty Ducks, but because of his injury, Dallas wears the C. Here's Sacco behind the Chicago net. Luchin on with him, along with Valeri Karpov. Karpov spins it around. Leaves there for Luchin. Checked by Eric Weinrich. Shot, Luchin to save, and the rebound was right there. And Denny Savard comes away there for Chicago. Good chance there for Luchin. He was their number 1 center last year, and it showed why. He knows how to make good offensive chances happen. Offside at the Anaheim blue line. 15:35 to go here in the first. Scoreless on opening night from Chicago. Didn't have much depth at center last year, but one of the guys they did have was Steve Ruchin. Look at the work he does here along the corner. Walks out and gets into pretty good scoring position, pulling the trigger on Eddie Belfour, but no blood drawn. And that big line is on the ice right now. Curry, Solani, and Drury. 2 classic Finnish stars. Along with just another New England kid, right? Yeah, and Gary Curry was actually the idol of Teemu Solani, too, so Solani really likes playing with him. Frederick Olofsson, giveaway right in front of Monty. Spin-around shot goes wide. Here's Black, spin-around shot, and that was stopped by Stalenkov. 2 spin-around shots by Chicago. Only 1 made it on goal. And again, James Black, that's 3 chances for him already, but he's come up empty so far. If he continue to get chances like that, he's going to score again. James Black has got 2 goals already for Chicago early in this season. Well, here's Black's chance again. Bad pass by Anaheim coming out of their zone. There's Black. He doesn't have the time. Actually, that's Amante at first. And here comes Black. Does a good job to get there. The quick spin around, but good recovery by who else? Jari Kurri gets the stick on it, deflects it wide, or Stalenkov with point blank. Look, James Black. James Black is a guy you root for. 7 professional seasons, only 70 NHL games. So he's ridden a lot of buses, a lot more than jet planes here in the NHL. Get a look at Thomas Grunman, the defenseman for Chicago, wearing 46. The veteran of 2 National Hockey League games, but they really like him. And it comes back out. There's Kevin Todd for Anaheim. Threw it in ahead for Warren Reichel. Now Todd is flat and goes hard into the glass. It comes back out to the neutral zone. Jason Marshall has for Anaheim. Well, Anaheim playing it pretty close to the vest so far. Haven't had really any scoring chances yet except for Ruchin's walk out of the corner, and really haven't spent much time in Chicago's zone either. They're a pretty young team. They're still getting to know each other, and they're just not showing signs yet of coming together quite yet. Up the near side, Moreau avoids a check and a heavy hit from Reichel, and that allows Chicago to clear the zone. Back forward is Marshall.
With plenty of time, and Chicago goes for a line change. He'll move it out himself. Throws in. Drury will get to it. Weinrich on him. Cummins throwing his weight in the corner. And the Blackhawks move it out. Krasov has it center. Did he step across the red line? I guess he did. And he fires in. Adrian Plavsic is back. Nearly a giveaway, but just able to squeeze it through for Olofsson. Out at center. Amonte's check. Forces it deeper. Here's Solani from the angle. Off the side of the net. Chelios has. Tries to turn it around the other direction. Does for Keith Carney. Carney up the boards. Black couldn't handle the pass as he was checked, and it will go all the way down.
Anaheim very conscious of having a guy back. Jari Kurri was really high in the zone there. Wasn't trying to put on any forechecking whatsoever. I think that Anaheim, unless they have a good chance to get on the puck right away, is going to sit back and try to play a counter game early on and see if they can take an early lead.
Look, the headman pass for Ken Baumgartner. Going a bit too far, and as Carney touches up, Carney and Baumgartner get together. Looks like they will separate without a problem. While they do, to sort things out, we can tell you that immediately following our hockey game tonight, the NHL 2 night, the hockey show for hockey fans. Bill Pito, Barry Melrose are coming up. All the scores, highlights, news, views, and reaction. The NHL 2 night, and I imagine Bill and Barry will have a thing to say about the Detroit-Hartford trade. Finally, Brendan Shanahan is dealt to the Red Wings.
Yeah, isn't that something? It's a good way to start off the young season here. Get a major player traded from one team to another. Everybody knew it was coming, I think. Brendan Shanahan had asked for it. Sure be interesting to see him play as a Detroit Red Wing this season.
Shanny's value went way up. He scored 2 goals last night in the mall. Detroit realized I had to have it. Wow, the guy scored 2 goals last night. We understand Shanahan is in uniform tonight for the Red Wings. More on that. Coming up in our intermissions. Of course, we'll provide updates for you as well throughout the night here on ESPN2. 13 minutes to go in this first period. Scoreless opening night of hockey here in Chicago as the Blackhawks and the Mighty Ducks battle. Bobby Dallas for Anaheim. Throw it the other way. Here's Krasov through the middle. Has Cummins with him. Elects to shoot it and shot it wide of the net. A delayed penalty is coming up. Will go against Anaheim. J.F. Jumpf in the corner. Jumpf on chance. And as we get the whistle, we'll take a break. Come back with the penalty and a Chicago power play. We're scoreless early on.
You can't have pool parties when I'm on the road. This is what happens. You know what I'm saying?
I'm shooting basketballs all day, baby. I'm shooting basketballs. Hey, Tyra, you left your toothbrush at my house.
That's you, LP. That's you.
I know my spot, fool. You can't guard me. The Secret Service couldn't guard me.
I mean, you can have a regular party, but you can't have any more pool parties. Look at this. The filters.
Welcome back. The penalty goes to number 5. Ruslan Saleh picks up 2 for roughing.
Well, he's known as a rough, tough customer. He gets the elbow up from the looks of things there. I believe they called it roughing. But this kid played in Las Vegas last year, and they're really banking on him playing well in Anaheim. And for Anaheim, they got to get off to a good start for a change. They've really struggled early in the seasons ever since they started in the National Hockey League. They're lucky if they win 2 games in their first dozen or so. That has to change this year. Look at last year, Steve, when they were looking for a couple of points at the end of the year.
Off the face-off, it's kept in by Chicago. Chelios and Suter will work the points, and they work it just about as well as any tandem in the National Hockey League. Here's Suter's drive, and it's gloved right on. Shalenkov has it. Anaheim did a good job of clearing traffic in front. The power play for Chicago this season so far, it's just 1 for 6 on the season.
Watch the waters part on this shot from Suter from the point. That's the way you want your defenseman to handle things. Get out of the way, let the goaltender see it. If a guy scores from the point on the power play, it's the goaltender's fault. Gary Suter's got a good shot. He will score like that sometimes, but when Shalenkov can see it like that, he's going to make that save every time.
Chicago really wants to improve on their power play this season. They clicked at just 17.7%, 15th best in the NHL. Trying to get a deflection in front. Craven tried to tip the puck on goal. Kept it at the point. Chelios off for Suter. Broken up by Anaheim, and the Mighty Ducks able to clear.
One of the things that's going to make a difference on the power play this year for Chicago, especially when you consider the guys that they're missing, like Murphy and Roenick and Bernie Nichols, is they have to stop taking so many penalties at the other end.
And another penalty is coming up, and it looks like Chicago will go to even things up. But right now, Rhys Davis standing by in our studio.
All right, Steve, in the Brendan Shanahan debut game, it's Slava Kozlov getting loose for the wings and unleashing the puck and firing it in there. His first. The score is 1-0. There's another Red Wing goal currently under review.
All right, Reese, thanks very much. Back here in Chicago, Tony Amonte picked up a slashing penalty right there.
Yeah, a little slashing going on there, and he pulls down Teemu Selanne as he's going down the wing, so we'll have a 4-on-4 situation. What I was saying earlier, Steve, about Chicago is that last year, if you compared the number of power plays to times shorthanded, they were a -91. In other words, they were shorthanded an awful lot. And in today's NHL, when your top players play everything, power play, killing penalties, and I'm thinking about Suter and Chelios first off here, when you're tiring them out killing penalties, it's going to hurt your power play. And if they don't have as many guns on the power play this year, all the more reason they have to be more disciplined this season.
Here's Denny Savard trying to break. It's a 4-on-4. Here's Savard. Slap shot hit the post. Savard hit the post in a 4-on-4. We'll play 4-on-4 for another minute 5.
And Denny Savard could still pick him up and lay him down there off the faceoff. He won that foot race, and he did everything right except he hit the post.
Pretty good speed. Playing 17 National Hockey League seasons. Still got the wheels, Denny Savard.
Oh, I'll tell you, in his first couple of years, he was scary to play against. The way he could spin around at top speed and do all those things. And when he's well-rested and fresh, Craig Hartford says he's still extremely effective. And you saw why right there.
JF jump, spins it in just a little deeper. Back behind the net. In about 35 seconds, Anaheim will have a power play. For about 20 seconds. Here's Kevin Miller trying to make the breakthrough. Couldn't do so. Yari Curry, neat little move. 2-on-2 at the Chicago line. Here's Curry's shot. It's a stick save by Eddie Belfour. Is that his first of the night?
I think so. Yari Curry likes that move to hold on and go to the forehand and take the slap shot.
Chelios, pretty good shot, and Stalenkov made that stop. Yeah, Chicago firing from all over tonight so far.
Yeah, they are. It helped Stalenkov get in the game. He's made some good saves so far.
Here's Curry. Chance, good poke. I don't know if he took advantage of the extra 3 inches on the stick that allowed this season. Good poke check out to center ice. Plavsic throws it around the boards. The Ducks now have their first power play of the game for another 30 seconds.
Well, after 2 years of being 26th last in the league in the power play, they moved up to 25th last year. But Curry and Selanne for a full year. Korea when he gets back. Romanov, Suda. These guys are going to make a difference for Anaheim. Their power play should move up in the standings.
Chance does a good job for Chicago. His better qualities, killing penalties, does a good job of that for the Blackhawks. Here's Yari Curry trying to make his move up the middle of the ice and does so. Ball for Olofsson. Olofsson inside the zone. Neat little pass. Selanne's in. Shot and a save by Belfour.
It looked like he was looking 5-hole there, Stephen, and changed his mind. As he changed his mind, he shot almost right at the glove, Eddie Belfour. But Eddie covered everything so well down low.
Power play is now over, 5-on-5. We'll see if that power play for Anaheim is only about 30 seconds or so, but an offensive jump in the game. Last couple of chances have belonged to Anaheim. Here's Sacco. Back for Marshall, out to center. Weinrich has for Chicago, leads for Suter. Pass ahead, broken up.
We're going to see a lot more neutral ice play this year because of the change in the face-off rule. You're seeing a little example now. And teams that forecheck well in the neutral zone can get on top of defensemen, especially if they're not very good puck handlers. You can see some turnovers, and I think it's a big improvement for the game this year. Back
the other way. Valeri Karpov throws in a little deeper. They battle along the boards. Karpov keeps in. Karpov from Karpov. Here's Sutter for Chicago. Tried to whack it out of the zone. Couldn't do so. Sacco is there. Sacco winning that battle with Sutter. Throws deeper. Probert is there. Anticipated the hit and received it from Karpov. Back behind the net. Anaheim has looked mighty good the last couple of minutes. Probert will move it out ahead of the Chicago zone.
Anaheim could use a win against Chicago. They are 2-10-1, the worst record against anybody in the National Hockey League since Anaheim started in the National Hockey League. So they have to do better against Chicago. Chicago just eating their lunch.
Here's Kevin Miller. He overskated. Leaves for Carney. Carney takes a hit as he got rid of the puck. Right out in front. Probert couldn't get to it. And the Mighty Ducks do. And Alex Hicks goes down the ice. Carney is back forward for Chicago. Ball from Miller. And it comes out. It's a 2-on-1 Chicago. Here's Black with Savard with Probert. Savard a spin. Neat move, and he got the shot off, but Stalenkov able to make the save.
You saw the experience of a guy who's been around a long time, with Denny Savard. He didn't panic, and he still got a shot on net.
Things certainly picking up here in Chicago, but we remain scoreless tonight on the Deuce.
Veteran Denny Savard's had a couple of good scoring chances in this game. Off the face-off, he'll just pursue the puck and get in a foot race with Bobby Dollis. It's where he got his breakaway. He takes it in on Stalenkov and clanks it off the post. And now on this last shift, he catches Ruslan Salai, the rookie, inside the blue line. He comes in a 2-on-1, watches Bobby Dollis slide by, and still gets a shot towards the goaltender.
Face-off to the left of Stalenkov, who's faced 9 Chicago shots and has been equal to the task on all of them. Olofsson has behind the net. Whoops it around at the center of the ice.
There was a little automatic play to Solani. Solani was on the fly out of the zone. Olofsson just took the puck around his net, shot it right up the middle for the bomb pass, but it was well read by the Chicago defense. And Solani, we can look for him to do types of things like that which Anaheim couldn't do before.
They nearly headman again to Solani, and it's called for a 2-on pass, 7:32 to go in scores.
Well, especially early in the season, when you have a guy like Timo Solani who has great speed, tremendous hands, he gives you that threat that puts the other team on edge. Why not use him? They just sent him right up the middle on the post pattern, and Olofsson, you could tell it was talked about right off the face-off. He got it, hooked the net, and get that long bomb pass. Chicago did a good job. And Yari Curry, man, he's playing with center iceman on this line, and probably for a good part of this season, I'm sure. Curry and Solani together are going to be a great combination, and when Paul Kariya returns, we'll see all 3 of those players together, I'm sure, for at least part of the season.
That's probably the big problem for Anaheim with Kariya. There's so many question marks. If you knew he was going to be out for a month and then back to go from there, but you don't know.
And they're certainly not going to rush him, that's for sure. He is so valuable to this team and the organization. He is the franchise, there's no doubt. They want him back as soon as they can, but they're not going to rush him.
James Blackie in on it. Amonte takes the hit from Solani, and Amonte went down. Kept in, and just barely. Nice job by Suter keeping it at the Anaheim blue line. Drury throws back. Olofsson has for the Mighty Ducks. Weak clearing pass, but Solani came back to the loose puck, and the Ducks come out. Fired in. Suter has for Chicago. We mentioned the ceremony before the game. Gary Suter, one of the 4 Chicago Blackhawks, honored as members of Team USA in their World Cup win in Montreal.
Still a pretty subdued atmosphere here in this building. The fans are not really into it yet. No goals have been scored, no fights. Chicago's carried most of the play, but Anaheim's come on a little bit in the last couple of minutes.
Check thrown by Cummins, and he's one of the guys that will start that for Chicago. Suter is back for it. Moves out ahead. Shantz took a hit, and it's sent inside the zone. Jason Marshall is back for it for the Mighty Ducks. Anaheim out ahead at center. Ruchin looking for Karpov off his stick, and offside at the Chicago blue line. I mentioned ESPN2's continuing coverage at the beginning of this broadcast, and it continues on Tuesday night from Dallas. How about the start? The Stars are off to against Brendan Shanahan now and the Detroit Red Wings. And it's coming up Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN2. That's coming up on Tuesday for you.
Well, Craig Hartsburg has to be a pretty happy coach of the Chicago Blackhawks right now. When they played Washington in game number 1 to start the season, Jim Schoenfeld, the Washington coach, said we were out-hit, out-worked, out-hustled, outscored, out-everything. Every coach wants to hear that. Craig Hartsburg pretty happy with his guys early this season.
And for a coach who, as you mentioned earlier, Brian, wants his defense to jump into the play. That was Hartsburg's game when he was a standout in Minnesota.
That's right. He's gonna want guys like Suter and Chelios to jump up even more so than last year because of the guys not in the lineup this year, and they want to spread it around. They want just a good, solid work ethic, but they're willing to trust the judgment of their experienced defensemen to jump up and make those plays. I mean, look, Gary Suter had 20 goals again last year. He was one of the 5 guys who had at least 20 goals for Chicago last season, and he probably needs to do it again this year.
It's really a very mobile defense, even beyond Suter and Chelios. Eric Weinrich can skate. As is there a penalty on the play? No penalty call. The crowd certainly wanted one as Moreau was pulled down. And Keith Carney also can skate on that Chicago blue line.
And they have enough experience that their judgment will be good. And as you said, Craig Hartsburg was an excellent offensive defenseman all those years for the Minnesota North Stars. And he's willing to let his players go a little bit and try and get the offense pumped up a little.
He was careful to stress a little bit.
Yeah, that's right.
Doesn't want the boys taking too many gambles. Getting burnt down at the other end. Here's Alex Hicks. Shot was deflected. Now rolls on goal, and Belfour will cover up. 4:46 to go here in the first. It remains a scoreless first. Back in Chicago, look at that offensive-minded defenseman when he was a player, Craig Hartsburg.
He's a good coach. And last year he established himself. He established that he was different than his predecessor here in Chicago. He gained the respect of his club. They played well last year, came up just a buck short against Colorado, who obviously went on to win it all. And Chicago's got a different look team this year, and Hartsburg, I think, is equal to the task.
How offensive-minded was he? He's the only Minnesota defenseman in history to ever score a hat trick. Did it back in 1986. Ironically, did it against Chicago. Inside the Anaheim zone. Weinrich in deep. There's a defenseman down deep working it. Thrown in front, all alone. Kevin Miller made a nifty move, and Stalenkov came out to meet him.
They can't solve Stalenkov yet. He's been outstanding. And again, it was a Chicago Blackhawk. This time Miller all alone in the slot. Anaheim has got to do a better job of picking players up. You see Hicks getting up a little bit slowly. He's back up on his feet. Stalenkov has been point blank with guys way too many times already. And watch how open he is again. Miller all alone there. He got in the gap in between the forwards and defense. There was no handoff there from the forwards and defense. That's about the third time already in this game. Another look. Look how open he is. He tried to get Stalenkov to go down and go around him, but Stalenkov did a great job of taking absolutely everything away from him down low. They may have to go high on him. That's one thing they have not tried yet, is go high up around the shoulder.
Miller is a pretty good free agent signing. They're counting on him to score some goals. He had a career year with 28 goals last year. He split it with San Jose and Pittsburgh. He's one of those guys, he and Tony Amonte, who've got to score for Chicago to be effective. Here's Solani the other way. Leaves for Curry. Cross for Drury, never made it through. It's broken up by Carney. And the Blackhawks come away. Here's Chris Chelios. Leaves for Black. He's run into the glass as he floated it over the net. Here's Solani, one-on-one with Carney. Solani puts it through his own legs, and it goes behind the net. Curry has there. Throw it in front, looking for Drury. Couldn't connect, and it comes back to center.
Keith Carney was wise to that one.
Here's a Monty trying to break. He's yanked down. Crowd wanting a penalty call. Kerry Frazier's arms are along his side, meaning no call. Now players get together, push and shove. Moreau is involved.
Well, at the other end of the ice, Carney did a good job. I think Solani was trying to do a little sleight of hand with him there and get him to look down at the puck, but Carney's been around too long to go for that trick. But Timo Solani's got a lot of things up his sleeve. That was just a little sample of what he can do in a one-on-one situation. He didn't have much of an angle to work it. There it is, a little backhander right between his own feet. Korea does that a lot as well, but excellent position there by Carney. Kept him to the outside, and you can see Solani couldn't quite keep it under control. Here's Amonte coming down at the other end of the ice with a good effort. He's hauled down on the play.
What do you think?
There wasn't any call on the play. Amonte certainly wanted one, and that's what all the pushing and shoving was about after, but he dropped the puck, and it's still 5-on-5.
Parker get away with one there?
Possibly, but I think Amonte was embellishing a little bit there, too, so they try and let those ones go.
Hockey player embellishment.
That's a penalty.
Inside the Chicago zone, Sacco let a quick shot go and used Weinrich as a screen, and Belfour able to make the save. Kept in by Olofsson. Throws in deeper. Karpov is there for Anaheim. He couldn't handle, and the Blackhawks send it out. Moreau trying to break ahead with Prokopek. And sent back inside the Chicago zone. Dangerous pass up the middle by Weinrich, but able to connect on it. Brett Sutter fires in.
Brett Sutter always does such a good job of coming back and getting open for his defenseman. That's so important for defensemen. If you have a center like that, like Sutter, who will just find an open gap no matter where it is, and you trust him that he'll get the puck, turn around, and make a good pass or get it out over the blue line for you. If you're being forechecked as a defenseman, that's a big quality you want in all your centers.
Todd checks Probert. Or is it the other way around? The height differential there. And Kevin Todd, though, comes away with a loose puck out at center. Flipped off his stick, and here's Denny Savard. Savard showing good legs tonight early on in his first period. Right in front, a shot, and Stalenkov able to make that stop on Kevin Miller.
Second good chance for Kevin Miller now. He really ripped that one quickly, and Stalenkov struck.
Savard a good spin, wrapped around in front. Stalenkov really lost his stick as he wrapped it around to make the stop and send it to the Chicago zone. Under 2 minutes to go in this first period. Rolled in front, backhand shot, saved by Belfour off Todd. Todd has it again with some time. Goes back to the point for a shot. Whistles high over the net. Now Monty will get to it for Chicago and clear.
A little bit of action for Anaheim down low. Kevin Todd with good puck control, but the puck started to roll there, so that shot on net wasn't as effective as they would have hoped. But they've shown a couple of flurries of offensive forechecking. Anaheim has that is, but Chicago's defense is really tough to forecheck well. They're really efficient with passing the puck out.
Chris Chelios ices the puck. We get the whistle with a $1:20 left. Well, the Deuce has a special edition of Thursday night college football for you tomorrow night. Battle of two surprising teams, both playing good football. Southern Miss and East Carolina. That's tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN2. And don't forget the weekend kickoff show begins at 7:30 p.m. over on ESPN. Chris Fowler and his team, you want to be tuning in for that.
There's a look at the guy that Sports Illustrated recently called the best U.S. player ever to play the game. And I don't think you'll get any arguments from anybody. Chris Chelios won the Norris Trophy again, was well deserving of that. This guy is an incredible player. I love to watch him play. There's nothing he can't do. He'll go into the corners with any two forwards on the other team, come out with the puck himself probably about 95% of the time. Talk about leadership, dedication, all those things. Chelios is just outstanding.
And to be that talented, Brian, and possess absolutely zero fear. He does not care the reputation the other guy's going into the corner with. They worry about him more. Now a shot trying to hit a Monty in front and tip it home, but it went wide of the net. Solani breaks the other way. For Anaheim, goes off the glass. Curry goes into the corner. That's what Chelios is. Chris Chelios, the captain of the Blackhawks, working both ends of the ice. Monty, he's checked by Dallas. Monty jumped up, tried to avoid the hit. He's kept in. Carney throws in deeper. Stalenkov all by himself behind the net with plenty of time to handle. And it's sent out of the zone. Eric Weinrich will go back for it as we approach the final 30 seconds in this first period. Steve Levy, Brian Engel with you. This is the home opener from Chicago tonight. The Blackhawks and the Mighty Ducks scoreless in this first period here on ESPN2. Glad you could be with us on this Wednesday night from Chicago.
Both teams were careful to get at least a couple of players changed on this last shift. You never want tired players out there at the end, and Anaheim in particular changed 3 or 4 of their guys. It's a smart play. Even though they're in their zone, they got it out in time to do so.
Reese Davis is standing by with the New Dodge University report. It's up in about 4 seconds from now. Reese is standing by. Scores and highlights from around hockey and the baseball playoffs. Of course, much more on that Brendan Shanahan deal to Chicago. After 1 period of play, the Blackhawks and the Mighty Ducks are scoreless. It's a new look Chicago Blackhawk team. They're much tougher, and they're without a lot of their better finesse offensive players. The captain says the new style can work.
Well, we knew coming into this exhibition camp and training camp that we'd have to be a hard-working team. We don't have the big goal scorers like we had in Jeremy and Joe Murphy and Bernie Nichols are point offensive players. So we know we're going to have to work hard as a team. It's kind of like where we were a couple of years ago, except without Jeremy. So it's going to take a lot of work to play together. We're going to have to play really well defensively.
Chris Chelios, the captain of the Hawks. You see the Chicago offense, 7 different goal scorers in the first 2 games. Chelios came out, kind of blasted Roenick, more Roenick's agent, because everybody was coming down to the Blackhawks organization for the move, and Chelios said, hey, don't get on the Blackhawk organization. They offered him a very, very fair deal 2 years ago, and he turned it down.
That's true, and he said JR just wasn't happy here, and JR and Chelios were and still are, I'm sure, very tight, very close friends. So he was saying what he thought, and Chris Chelios has always done that.
There's Murray Craven. Backhander goes wide of the net. James Black will get to it for Chicago. The Blackhawks, their home opener in the home white uniforms. The Mighty Ducks of Anaheim in the road purples. Here's Solani. Cross for Drury. Drury on his backhand. Saved by Belfour up high. And the Hawks get to the rebound and clear. There's Craven inside the zone. Leaves for Monty. Back to Craven. Took a swipe at it and just missed it. Craven is taken down by Dallas. Drury hammered by Monty. Chicago has come out on fire here. Here's Monty on the backhand. Rolls in front. Black couldn't get to it. Pops over the net. There's Craven. Back for Black. A shot and a save. Stalenkov.
Well, the onus is on the home team to set the pace as a rule. And Chicago is certainly capable of some more speed. We didn't see much speed in the first period, but in this opening shift here, it looks as if Craven's line at least wants to get it going through the neutral zone.
The only guy we saw speed from was Dennis Savard. Begins season 17 in the National Hockey League. Touched up for by Olofsson. And we get the whistle.
Well, Chicago is cautiously optimistic, I guess you could say, about their 2-0 start. And Murray Craven had a good line for me this morning. He lives in the Hancock building here in downtown Chicago. He said his building superintendent stopped him in the hall the other day and said, "Hey, Murray, it's great. You guys are off to 2-0 start. But just remember," he said, "it's like a guy jumping out of my 82nd floor window. Everything goes smooth for the first 80 or 81 floors, but it's how you finish that makes the difference."
Yeah, it's a good
He
point.
was laughing, yeah. So they are cautiously optimistic, and we'll see what happens in the spring.
Craven's been a clutch goal scorer for Chicago. Team high 7 game-winning goals last season. So when he scores, they're important goals.
And he plays both wing and center, but he's definitely going to play center early on here.
Nearly a giveaway by Belfour. The Blackhawks got lucky there. None of the Ducks were able to pop that one home. There's Savard behind the net. He will get to it up for Bob Probert. Probert couldn't hang on to the pass, but it's flipped in a little deeper. Karpov out ahead. Kevin Miller has for Chicago. Leaves for Savard. Throw inside the zone. Suter in deep. Throws towards the side of the net. Stolinkov the stick there. And the Mighty Ducks will just flip it out to center. Mark Weinrich will go back for Chicago. Up the wall for Bob Probert. Checked by Todd. Those two have come together on a number of occasions. Picked off by Karpov. Checked by Savard. Rolls in front. It just went off a skate. And came back out to center ice. Down in the zone. Dallas has for Anaheim. Got up high on Miller. Look, I almost hit him in the face. It might have hit him in the face. Kevin Miller tried to shake it off as he'll head for the bench.
Well, Dallas changed his mind, I think, about what he wanted to do with that puck, and sometimes that can work against you when you're being forechecked as he was by Miller, and you ended up just hitting him with the puck. But fortunately for Dallas, he was able to get it back under control.
Moreau trying to keep it inside the zone. Thomas Gronman had for Chicago momentarily, and now comes back out at center. Here's Ethan Moreau. Moreau is Prokopek. Moreau's shot wide of the net. Comes up the near side. They battle along the boards. 2 players from each team, and Todd able to work it free. Out ahead for Roman Aksuda. Aksuda pass for Reichel. Couldn't hit him, and back the other way come the Blackhawks. 3-on-2 Chicago. Brent Sutter leaves for Moreau. And he tried to give it back to him. But behind the net. Todd battling for the Mighty Ducks. Sutter has. Baumgartner on top of him. Goes back out. Gronman couldn't keep it in. Back out at center.
Anaheim's defense did a good job on that last shift. That was Freddie Olofsson who forced that play. That was actually a 4-on-2 for a second, and not great passing by Chicago. But because of the pressure of Olofsson, Anaheim was able to keep Chicago from scoring the goal.
This is the Mighty Ducks crash line as they try to get something going out there with Warren Reichel and Ken Baumgartner. And Alex Hicks picks up the loose puck. Hicks for Reichel. Actually, that's J.F. Jump on the ice. Not seen much of him this evening. Jump unable to keep it in, and it's sent down to the Anaheim zone.
Not much room out there right now. Both teams checking pretty closely. A lot of neutral zone play. Even when they dump it in the zone, the defensive team gets the puck and gets it right back out of the zone, as we're seeing here again from Anaheim.
Yeah, Carper just flips out. Belfour sticks it aside for Chelios. Chelios is hit hard. Dumped by Hicks. Here's Jump. Jump behind the net. Fans on his pass as he was trying to center. Drury then takes out his own man in the corner. Chelios flicks the puck. Krivik takes a whack at it. And Krivik has out at center off for Chelios. Fires in wide of the net. Cummins trying to play the carom. Shantz throwing the body around. Chelios keeps in. Couldn't get the shot up. Suter can shot through a screen, went wide of the net.
That was an alert play by Chelios. Nice job to keep it inside the zone and get it to Suter for a good scoring chance.
A penalty is coming up. A power play. And Chris Chelios' headache when we come back. Welcome back to Chicago. I think we would agree. ESPN2 is really cool.
Well, Ted Drury's in the penalty box. I believe for a holding call, so Anaheim's going to have to kill off a penalty, and Chicago building a little bit of momentum here. They need to get some shots on goal like that last one they had from Gary Suter and get a little traffic in front of Stolinkov, who had an outstanding first period.
Have 13 shots on goal, and Stolinkov has been equal to every one of them. Right off the faceoff, the Mighty Ducks able to poke it out.
And the first thing any scorer or any team in general will tell you when a goaltender is successful or when he's hot, you got to get in his face, you got to get him off his game. That's what Chicago must do to Mikhail Stolinkov now.
Amonte, Craven, and Miller, the forward line on the Chicago power play with Chelios and Suter. Lucian and Sacco will kill it up front. Olofsson and Dallas, the defenders for the Mighty Ducks, they kill it off. Here's Suter. Leaves there for Chelios. Puts some space off for Miller. Back for Suter. Just able to keep that running. Here's Suter's shot, deflected up high. Nestelenko jumped to make sure it wouldn't make the net. Back for Chelios. Cross for Suter. Had a dive to keep it in. The Hawks able to keep possession of the puck. Good play by Kevin Miller as they whack away at it. Miller ties up his man, allows Suter to get to it, but just momentarily, and the Ducks able to clear.
Anaheim making a wholesale change here. Did a good job in that last sequence, killing off the first part of this penalty.
Tried to headman for Savard and catch him on a change, but it was offside. 14:08 to go, 54 left in the power play.
And speaking of power plays for Chicago, from 2 years ago to last year, there was a big change. You see the numbers there from first place in 94-95 down to 15th, and that was with Roenick, Murphy, and Nichols. Now, obviously, this year, those guys are not around. You see the percentages and the number of goals these three guys pumped in, and it is a big, major adjustment for Craig Hartsburg and his troops. What are we going to do on the power play? Fortunately for them, they still have Suter and Chelios certainly on defense. That will help. But as I said earlier, the key for them will be their own discipline. They must stop taking so many penalties themselves so they don't wear guys like Suter and Chelios in particular out. And they can focus a little bit more on power plays. Because let's face it, you expend more mental and physical energy killing penalties than you do on power plays. So therefore, in a lot of their games with so many penalties to kill off, Chicago has to cool it this year.
I've got another way for them to improve their power play. Alexei Shamna.
Ah, yes, that would help.
He'd be a big help. I don't think people realize how good a player he is because he's being compared to Jeremy Roenick. He's not, doesn't do all that Roenick does, but in terms of offense and finesse,
well, he's not as physical. He's not as physical as JR. He's a very gifted player. He can make plays, get quick hands, he can score goals, do all those things. It'll be exciting for Chicago Blackhawks if they can sign him. And they're still progressing, I guess, albeit extremely slowly in those talks.
Anaheim able to clear. Here's Solani in a race for the puck. He's going to get there first. Solani from the angle. Backhand scores! Teemu Solani, a short-handed goal. And the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim open up a 1-0 lead.
Folks, you had to have our vantage point to see Teemu Solani come from the near side over to the far side before Suter could get to the puck. Can this guy fly or what? There's Suter trying to get it. Solani's come from behind. It doesn't do it justice, I'll tell you, when you see it slow motion. And look at the move he puts on Belfour, finishes it off. That's why the guy scored 76 goals in his rookie year. But the Jets were on full speed. Teemu Solani says he is healthier than he's been in the last 2 years, and he showed it. Let's see if you can pick it up full speed. Solani is just busting it there. One of the smoothest skaters in the league. There's the move, and there's the payoff. Ducks are up 1-0.
Teemu Solani comes off a three-point night in Montreal. A goal and 2 assists, and this being his second goal of the season. It comes short-handed. And if we thought this crowd was quiet now, or before, how about now?
Well, you know what? Teemu Solani's done a lot for this club, obviously, on the ice, but he's going to help the club, and Paul Kariya in particular, because Solani's a pretty loose guy. Always got a smile on his face. He's great with people. In Winnipeg, they loved him before the Jets moved to Phoenix, and in Anaheim, it's going to be no different. Paul Kariya is known as a guy who's a little more close to the vest, stays to himself, but he watches Solani and obviously respects him an awful lot, so he will have a positive influence on Paul when Paul Kariya does return to the lineup.
It is Solani's second from Curry, a short-handed goal. 6:36 of this second period. We'll see how Chicago responds. Solani and Kariya, 108 points each last season. Anaheim, along with Colorado and Pittsburgh, 3 clubs that each had 2 players in the top 8 in scoring in the entire league last season. Very rare.
And believe it or not, from the All-Star break on last year, Ron Wilson and his Mighty Ducks had the best record of anybody in the National Hockey League, and that's the reason they just barely, unfortunately for them, did not make the playoffs. Ended up in a dead tie points-wise with Winnipeg and lost out to them because of an extra win that Winnipeg had. But these guys got hot, and they feel they've improved themselves much more again in the offseason and are ready to roll, albeit they're off to a little bit of a slow start this season.
Ducks lost only 3 of their last 17 games last season. An outstanding finish to the year. Fire on Ice continues Tuesday night from Reunion Arena in Dallas. The Detroit Red Wings. New look Detroit Red Wings. No Primo, no Coffey, and no first-round pick in '97. Of course, they'll have Brendan Shanahan in uniform when they go up against Mike Modano and the Dallas Stars. Dallas, an impressive club. They made a lot of changes this offseason. They're off to a pretty good start themselves.
Oh, Dallas really struggled last year. I think they have to be a better club than they were last year. Pat Verbeek is going to go a long ways to help them, and Zubov will help open things up, that's for sure. And I think guys like Mike Modano, who's off to a tremendous start, it's going to breathe some life back into his career.
Of course, Joe Nieuwendyk, full season in Dallas. He did have a much better season than one of his worst for some time last year.
Yeah, good point. I think it was just tough for Nieuwendyk to get going. He's a quality hockey player, and he'll be a big force for Dallas as well.
Right out in front, Prokopek had the puck in his skates, came free for Moreau. Moreau and Hicks battle. Comes back out to the point for Weinrich. Throws it in deeper. There's Sutter. Checked by Olofsson. Moreau to the corner. Ethan Moreau, number 19, fires a shot. And Stalenkov able to make the stop. You don't see players shooting from that vantage point.
That's exactly what I was going to say, but good turnover, good puck control by Moreau. This whole line really centered by Brent Sutter. Guys do a great job, and Moreau likes to shoot the puck. That's pretty obvious. He got a taste of it early on. He's got 1 goal in each of the first 2 games, and he's shooting here tonight. And it doesn't matter where you shoot from. You got to get those shots and get to the net. Ethan Moreau has made an impact in this game.
Here's Weinrich for Chicago. Leaves for Cummins. Cummins trying to crash through Plavsic and does, but Todd gets to the puck and wraps it around. Krivit pass up. Throws it in front. Stalenkov able to stick it aside. I'm impressed with the way he's handled the puck as a goaltender tonight, right? Kept in. Here's Kurkasov, spins away from a check. Cummins there as well. Plavsic will leave for Todd for Anaheim. Out ahead. Broke it up at center. Chance for Chicago. Leaves there again. Kurkasov throws in on goal. And Stalenkov give his guys a breather. Do the same for us. 11:17 to go in the second. Solani, short-handed goal. The Ducks lead 1-0.
Chicago wants their defense jumping up on the play to get some offensive chances. This is short-handed. Amante, and here comes the defense jumping up there. That's Gary Suter. He's caught. Now Anaheim moves the puck up quickly, which they should do. They get an outnumbered attack coming back the other way, and the shot on goal is saved by Eddie Belfour. Hartsburg wants his defense up, but I think they have to be selective when they're a man short. That very nearly turned against them.
Back at 5 aside for the first time in some time. And it comes back out to center. Thomas Gronman has. Throws in. Shots on goal. 14-12 in favor of Chicago. Kept in at the point. Back behind Liddett. Karpa for Anaheim in there on the battle, along with Miller for Chicago. They whack away. Probert comes away with the puck. Off for Savard on his backhand, rolls it through the crease. They're whacking away at it, and Stalenkov has, and he will hang on and get the whistle with 6:06 to go here in the second.
Well, Stalenkov was down on his knees, taking everything away down low. In a scramble situation like that, that's what the goaltenders will do. But the Anaheim defense did a pretty decent job here of accounting for all the Chicago attackers here. Savard has the puck, doesn't really have too many places to go. He tries to throw it across the crease there to Miller, I believe. But as you can see, there were no second chances for those Blackhawks forwards, and Stalenkov was able to find a handle on it.
Every game that goes by like this for Chicago, and Alexei Zhamnov's value goes up, right? Every game like this,
yeah.
Bob Pulford's got to be dipping a little bit deeper and offering some more money.
Well, that's true. I mean, hard work and everything will certainly help you, and they do have some guys who can score. It's not as if they don't have anything. But you know, in the dog days of January and February, you need that talent to win you some games, and this good start that Chicago's giving them, at least is giving them some time to deal with that jam now.
Hicks in front, a shot. He crashed into Belfour and winds up in the net. And those two battle, 2 flicks. Belfour went after Hicks with a couple of flicks.
And Eddie made a save with his back there, I think, while he was busy taking a shot at Hicks. When you're hot and you're a good goaltender, you get some luck sometimes. He was lucky there.
Here's Aksuda, another shot, and just shot it wide. Belfour will stick it to the corner. It's been an active night for Eddie Belfour. Out at center for Plavsic for Anaheim.
I'm not sure it was even Hicks' fault. I think he got pushed into Eddie. Eddie doesn't care. All he knows is he got knocked over, and sees an opposition guy in his face. He started hacking at him and makes a big save with his back.
Cam Russell, couple of 8s, go at it. And Solani back to the point, picked off by Prokopek, and he comes back out the other way. Mike Prokopek, 23 in white for Chicago.
Prokopek did a smart thing there. He just kind of laid in the weeds and waited for that pass to come out from the corner. He picked it off rather easily. Ruslan Saleh was calling for the puck, but he wasn't really open on the play.
Less than 5 minutes to go here in the second period from Chicago. The Blackhawks trail the Mighty Ducks 1-0.
Made a big save before all the stuff started happening in the corner. There's a good shot on net, and those ones are very difficult. You could see the puck was dipping a little bit. There was a deflection, I believe, off of his defenseman's stick. Difficult for those goaltenders. That's why angles mean so much. You have to get out and challenge. You can't allow too much in the corners, because if that puck drops a couple of inches, as that one did, and you're just trying to play with your glove, it's not going to happen. And he did a good job there.
Eddie Belfour loves playing against the Mighty Ducks. 11 games career against them. His record is 9-1-1. A goals against of 1.71 with 4 shutouts. 4 shutouts in Belfour's 11 games against the Mighty Ducks. He's already given up 1 tonight. You saw the penalties. 5 each for fighting. You know the odds on getting a pair of number 46s to fight each other? You know the chances of that?
No, I never really thought about it.
Oh, and Probert runs over Marshall.
Here we go.
Right into Stolenkov, and here we go.
That last fight started things, and the fans are starting to get into it. And the Hawks, I think, finally believe they do have to do something. A minute and a half to go in the second period. Still down on the scoreboard. Probert took a few liberties there, I guess we could safely say. And the fans love it.
That's really what we expected from the start. And with a minute 26 left in the second, it's the first time we really see it out of Chicago.
Yeah, and Stolenkov was one of the guys that was the recipients there. It was kind of a pinball shot there. Probert doesn't look as if he's going to get any penalty for it. Terry Fraser not headed to the penalty box. Here's Stolenkov playing the slow roller. Probert coming in from the right of your screen. Good shot. 2-for-1 Sale. Bob Probert went off into the corner, and he had a few players in his face, but, you know, nobody really pushed it too far. Probert, one of the toughest customers probably ever to play in the National Hockey League. And, a little bit of pushing and shoving. No penalties on the play.
That's a good play. You're the coach. You're the coach of Chicago. That's a good play, right? You want to get something going for your team, get the crowd into this game. You played a lackluster game to this point.
Yeah, you're flirting with penalties there, though, because he pushes the defenseman, didn't touch the puck. He just kind of sort of got a free shot there, I would say.
2-for-1 Sale. I like that expression. No penalties. We skate 5 aside for the remainder. 1:26 in his second period. 1-0 shorthanded goal, Teemu Selanne, and they will face it off again.
Speaking of face-offs, of course, with the new markings on the ice, it's a lot better this year. I think this is great. There has been so much cheating over the last couple of years, and probably forever, when it comes to draws. Everybody trying to get position, those markings, those T's marked. You see how the players have to line up their skates? They can't cheat nearly as easily as they used to, and the draws are more fair.
Savard wins it back for Weinrich. His shot through a screen was deflected. Looks like Sacco took that one. He'll try to shake it off. In the corner now, they battle. Back behind the net. Olofsson trying to get there for Anaheim. Does so. And Sacco able to clear. Suter back the other way for Chicago. And now Weinrich passes back to his defensive partner. Final minutes to play in this second period. 1-0. The Mighty Ducks lead the Chicago Blackhawks. Here's Denny Savard. Savard spins away. In front, Miller now. He was on his backhand, so he couldn't get the shot off. Suter keeps in, throws it in deeper. Probert pokes it in further. There's Miller from the side of the net. Shot! It's right on the goal line and didn't go across. It was laying right on the goal line. And the Hawks couldn't get to it, and Stolenkov had no idea where it was. Here's Chicago again. Here's a Monty from the angle. Glove stave, Stolenkov.
Well, he's been so strong in this game, Stolenkov has, and you get some luck when that happens. That one was sitting right on the goal line.
Chelios touches up for the icing. 17 3/10 seconds to go in the second.
Well, things have picked up in the last couple of minutes since those scraps happened and the pushing and shoving started. Watch this shot from the angle. There's Kevin Miller shooting it. Watch it drop in behind. Stolenkov doesn't know where it is. He said, I'm losing it. I know it's losing. You can just barely see it. It's right on the line. Good job there by the Anaheim defense to get in and push it out of there. All Chicago had to do was push Stolenkov, and he would have knocked it in. There it is. There's a great look at it. Look how close that is. And you know that the Chicago forwards could sense that Stolenkov didn't know where it was, knew he was in trouble. The next play by them would have been push those feet, push everything over the goal line. A good job by Anaheim there to clear it.
They just put up on the big board here in Chicago. Face-off wins in this game. Murray Craven leading Chicago with 9 of them. No coincidence he's taking this face-off, and he just won his 10th draw of this game. Chelios trying to force it. Can't. Comes back out. Todd out at center. Off for Selanne. Leaves for Todd. Shot saved by Belfour. He went down to get it. And as Black moves it out ahead, we get the buzzer. Ending the period. Mikhail Stolenkov has frustrated Chicago to this point. The Ducks lead 1-0 after 2. Everyone to Chicago. Yari Curry's got a point on the board, and it's a big one. Short-handed assist. We get set to start the third. The Mighty Ducks lead 1-0.
Yari Curry doing his thing. There you see the numbers, pretty good numbers for stats-wise for Yari Curry. Always a consistent guy, plays all aspects of the game extremely well, and is a big addition for Anaheim. And Teemu Selanne, his line mate, equally good numbers, and the only goal so far in this game, and he showed those Jets. And he is feeling really good this year. I talked to him this morning. He's feeling healthier than he has in the last 2 seasons. And back in the net, Mikhail Stolenkov has solved all the puzzles thrown his way so far by the Chicago Blackhawks. Stolenkov has been flawless in net, making all different kinds of saves. He's got a good look at the puck most of the time. His defense doing a decent job, especially in the second period. I thought Anaheim shored things up a little. They gave away too many scoring chances in the first period from the slot. Stolenkov was there for them, and his players were there for him in the second.
Look at Ron Wilson doing a fine job with Anaheim club, looking to get a couple points. Look for their first victory of this season. They opened up in Toronto, a 4-1 loss, played a wild 6-6 tie in Montreal in Game 2. Guy Hebert was in goal for that one. He said, I felt like I was back in the World Cup with all the goals and scoring. Lead changed 4 different times. 9 Mighty Ducks had at least 1 point in that game. Hebert is on the bench. He'll play tomorrow night in Denver against the Avalanche. They throw it in front. Craven fanned on it. Bouncing puck hopped over his stick, and it will go down the length of the ice. And Carney will touch up. We get the icing. 31 seconds into the third. Here's Rhys Davis.
Hey, Steve, remember Sunday night, Bernie Nichols of San Jose tied the Islanders 15 seconds left, while Ottawa trying to do the same thing, and Alexander Daig, under 2 seconds to go, puts the thing in overtime, and the Islanders' Mike Milbury denied again, at least so far.
All right, Rhys, thanks. Poor Mike. You know, the Islanders, they're going to struggle, but they've got some better players.
Oh, they've got
season.
some good young talent.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, they may have the best young defense corps, and Mike Milbury, I know, really feels that. Great young talent, which on the horizon, they should have a real good quarter over the next couple of years, but they're going to take their lumps, I think, this year, and they all know it.
Yeah, they're off to a tough start. Last-second goals, beating them and tying them so far this season. Here come the Mighty Ducks at center. They throw inside the zone. Eddie Belfour has been sharp. Anaheim is peppered him with 16 shots. Not sure you consider that peppering a goaltender at this point. But he stopped all but one. Teemu Selanne's short-handed goal in the second. Here's Bob Probert trying to get it going in a number of ways for Chicago, and that one deflected out of play and into the crowd.
There's Big Bob Probert, one of the toughest guys in the National Hockey League, and he leads a cast of guys that are pretty tough on the Chicago club this year, too. As we said, in the first half of the game, especially, Chicago has not played it very tough, not very physical. But in the late minutes of that second period, Probert included, started to push and shove and challenge people a little bit more, and I suspect there was a lot more talk about it in that second period intermission. And I'm sure we're going to see a little more physical Chicago Blackhawk team here in this third period.
To Probert's credit, in seasons that he has played 45-plus games, there have been 7 of those seasons. 6 of them he's had double-digit goals, and every one of them 220-plus penalty minutes. He's 10th all-time in that area.
Well, Bob Probert's been through an awful lot the last couple of years. It's been well documented, but he can do both. He can score goals, play a good offensive game, and he's still a tough customer.
Has a couple 20-goal seasons to his credit. 19 goals last season in his return to the National Hockey League. He's got some of those skills as well. Here's Keith Carney. Carney's play broken up by Karpa, and the Mighty Ducks trying to break out.
There was a good chance missed there by Anaheim. Carney was caught off the ice. They could have had a possible 2-on-1 in that situation. Not a very good pass from Kevin Todd.
And Aksuda tried to flip it out in front, but it hopped over a stick and comes back out to center. Shamson, a race with the puck with Marshall. And Marshall gets back for it. Jason Marshall, 23 for Anaheim.
Well, I don't expect that Anaheim is going to forecheck any more than they did in the first two periods, and that it wasn't very much. They're ahead 1-0 on the board, and they're in the middle of a long road trip, and it's a very grinding road trip. It's tiring. They're going to sit on that 1-goal lead and hope they get a couple of chances, maybe outnumbered attacks, to try and get an extra goal and give themselves a little bit of cushion.
Let's not feel too bad for Ron Wilson and Anaheim. They start 5 straight on the road, this being their 3rd game. And 7 of the first 10 will be on the road. But, and here's the big but for the Mighty Ducks, after October 24th, when they play in Hartford, 14 of the next 17 games will we played at the Pond in Anaheim, and that would be very nice.
Well, they say you have to pick your spots when you look at your individual schedule. Each team has to really put a push on at certain times in the year. That'll be their time to push. If they can make some hay during that late October, early November and make some points up with all those home games, they're going to have to. Because as we mentioned earlier, in October and November is where playoff spots are made.
Amonte's shot was deflected in front by Black, and Stalenkov went down, and the puck went up.
I'm not so sure that maybe didn't hit Stalenkov right on the forehead. It glanced off at a funny angle. He goes down on his knees to try and see the puck, and I think he used the old noggin there, hit it right between the eyes on the top of that mask. Let's take a look at it here. It comes up. He goes down. Bonk. Right off the head. Absolutely. Nice play there. Stalenkov using everything, including his head. Game so far, keeping them all out of the net.
So that's why the puck went up, then he went down.
Look at hit it right between the eyes there, those eyes on his forehead. That's a great looking pass.
That's a duck, huh?
I hope so.
Yeah. He had like a brewing symbol.
He did too, but it didn't work.
Face off to the left of Stalenkov. Back behind the net. Olofsson tries to wrap it around off for Hicks. Curry sends it out. Ahead for Solani. Solani, one man to beat, and he got it through, but Plavsic couldn't get a shot on goal, so he went up the heel of the stick.
That's the type of situation I was talking about. Anaheim needed to capitalize on one like that. They're not going to get very many, but again, off the faceoff, Chicago was caught inside the zone. That quick 2-on-1. The pass from Solani was in the feet too much of Plavsic, and he tried that one-timer that didn't work. There was a golden opportunity to go up 2-0.
Inside the Anaheim zone. They've made a bit of a change. Drury now off this line, and Hicks now on for Anaheim on this big line for the Mighty Ducks. But Chicago is set up inside the zone now. Here's Craven. This is the top-scoring Chicago offensive line on the ice right now. Chelios working it in deep. He's checked by Curry. Hicks there as well. Hit by Amonte. And Plavsic gets to it. Can't clear. Comes back to the point. Here's Black covering. Shot saved. Craven on the rebound. Couldn't get to it. Here's Amonte. Delayed penalty coming up. Carney throws in deeper behind the net. Now as Hicks touches up, a delayed penalty will go against Anaheim. So Chicago will go to the power play, looking to even this thing up.
Alongside Brian Engblom, Steve Levy, Darren Pang here.
Hey, Panger.
In Chicago. Hey, fellas, how are you?
Great
speed here by Teemu Solani again, gaining the loose puck. One-time play right off the heel of the stick. You got to hate that.
It was an excellent play there. Solani, unfortunately for him, couldn't do it.
Look, our little brother showed up in the booth.
You know, I thought I'd just peek by. You guys are doing a great job. Feeling the essence here of Blackhawk hockey. They need something now, though, Brian.
We're having fun. Yeah, they got to step it up physically, don't you? I mean, Chicago's always had a physical team. I didn't see it in the first two periods, really.
Shot in front. That's a save by Stalenkov. It's Olofsson 2 for holding at 3:05. Third power play for Chicago on the night. As the Blackhawks look to set it up, and here we go. Craven throws in. And it comes up the near side. Ruchin battling. Cross for Chelios. Has an angle. Finds Suter. Suter's shot deflects high off the glass. Craven back behind the net. Comes for Chelios. Chelios' shot is stopped by the defense. Good play, Chelios to keep in. Goes across for Miller. Miller now loses possession and just kept in, and barely kept in by Chicago. Here's Craven. Up for Chelios. Cross for Suter. Chelios, one-time shot, save! The rebound is there! Stalenkov got that one as well. Suter's shot is blocked, and the Karam will take it out to center.
Well, I'll tell you, some great chances there for Chicago, and Anaheim had a golden chance to get the puck in the zone. Steve Ruchin didn't. Chelios, one of the best in the league at hanging into the last second, kept it in there and gave him that chance to score on Stalenkov, but Chicago can't sign the mark.
40 seconds left in the man advantage. What's his power play missing, Panger?
Well, one thing they haven't done all night long is really fire it from the lanes. A lot of shots getting blocked, and even though Stalenkov's making the first save, no one there for the rebound. You need a presence right in front of the net.
One of the things Anaheim's doing well in this game that they didn't in their first two, when they're shorthanded, they allowed 3 goals, power play goals against on the rush, which is kind of unusual, but they obviously haven't done that here tonight. They're paying more attention to it. Ron Wilson talked about it this morning.
Solani is flattened by Weinrich, shorthanded. Remember, Solani has the only goal of this game, a shorthanded tally. And Solani breaks that one up. He's had a very strong effort tonight, Brian.
He's out there an awful lot. He's going to be. His ice time's way up there. Solani's got the ability, because of those great wheels, to not get tired. It doesn't take him as much effort as some of the some guys who are plumbers and have to really work at it. Solani's certainly not in that category.
Penalty is over. We're back at 5-a-side.
Who said he had bad knees?
Yeah, really.
Inside the zone. Here's Drury's shot right on him. Belfour went down to stop that one. Drury battling behind the net now with Black. Comes back outside. Todd throws it in a little deeper. Rolls to the side of the net, and Belfour the stop, and he'll cover and hang on. 14:25 to go in the third. The Mighty Ducks hanging on to that 1-0 lead.
Well, Mikhail Shtalenkov is still the story in this game for Anaheim. He's pitching a shutout so far, even though he's taken it off the top of the melon a couple of times in the game as well. Here's a look at the power play by Chicago, that last sequence. Here comes the big blast as Chelios really gets a chance to walk into it. And the deflection there by Amante. Good work by the defense in front. Bobby Dallas clearing out Amante, and Shtalenkov is everywhere, isn't he, Darren?
He sure was, and then he got some help too, because that shot was blocked after Gary Suter pinched in from the left point. But that was sustained pressure. That was a really neat redirection, because Chris Chelios has represented the Blackhawks the last 3 All-Star games with the hardest shot, getting upward near 98.5 miles an hour, so he can really let it rip.
Was that approximately 98.5?
He's going to use kilometers, but I fired the miles per hour stuff in there.
Now I want to know what Al Michaels feels like in Monday Night Football. 3 men in a booth.
I saw that movie.
Sent inside the Anaheim zone. Ken Baumgartner comes away with it for the Mighty Ducks. We should remind folks, Mikhail Shtalenkov is the backup goaltender for Anaheim. D.A. Bear will play tomorrow night in Colorado, or maybe he won't play now. That was the original plan, that A. Bear would play tomorrow night against the Avalanche. Well, the way Shtalenkov's playing, why not go with a hot goaltender?
Yeah, that's a distinct possibility. Guy Barrett, by his own admission, did not play very well in his first 2 starts after coming off playing for the backup goaltender for Team USA. He was hot in the preseason, but hasn't gotten it going so far.
Here's Moreau's shot, gloved easily by Shtalenkov. And rolls back to the net. Here's Ethan Moreau. Dallas on him. Moreau and Dallas go down to the ice. Krasov has. Here's Krasov on his backhand. Spin around shot. Krasov has. Now back. Chelios. Cross for Carney. Carney's on his backhand and goes to the corner with it.
Boy, talk about regrouping in the middle of the ice. All 5 Anaheim guys in a shell right in the slot area.
Rolled through the crease. Chelios shot. That might have been one of those 98-mile-an-hour jobs. Comes back out at center.
Anaheim was a little panicked there. Chelios and the boys had controlled the puck very well. That was 5-on-5, but it looked like a power play. Anaheim just fell back into the middle, didn't really have anybody, just strictly played a zone and tried to keep them to the outside.
A little early to go in this shell, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Minutes left.
But when you're on a team that doesn't have that much firepower offensively, you know, your tendency is to try and sit on a 1-goal lead on the road.
Sit up for icing. Hanger, we'll see you on an ESPN2 broadcast soon, I'm sure.
Keep up the great work, fellas, and go on to break, would you?
Yeah.
We will. Chicago, everyone. The Mighty Ducks continue to hang on to that 1-0 lead over the Blackhawks. However, when you look at the Miller Lite League leaders, Anaheim is nowhere to be found. When you look at the best winning percentage in the 90s, the Blackhawks right there at number 4.
But look at the Stanley Cup. Pittsburgh Penguins were the only ones to win a cup. But these days, that's what all the big teams talk about, get geared up for the playoffs. A lot of clubs, including Detroit and Chicago, at the top of the list there of the teams going the longest without winning the cup. And we're going to hear about that throughout the course of this season as well. You can bet.
Yeah, when you look at Pittsburgh winning the Stanley Cups, that 6:30 winning clip by Detroit in the 90s, I mean, who cares?
Oh, yeah.
It's so meaningless when you don't do it in the postseason. Inside the zone, right off Aksuda's skate and nearly rolled on goal. And back the other way come the Mighty Ducks. There's Plavsic, dumps in, he'll go for a change. Weinrich for Chicago. He's flattened by Reichel of Anaheim.
That was the best forecheck, literally, that we've seen in a hockey game. Good work there by Warren Reichel. He just planted Weinrich behind the net.
Up for Ruchin for the Mighty Ducks. Off Sacco's stick, and it comes back out to center for Keith Carney. He spins it the other way. Marshall right back for Anaheim, throws in. Belfour will handle. Up for Cummins. They allowed the puck to get out of the zone. Belfour leaves there for Chris Chelios.
Well, you can see Anaheim set up. They're not going to force anything that they don't have a chance to get the puck. They're back in a defensive shell. They're not going to let themselves get outnumbered if they can at all help. It's still sitting on this 1-goal lead.
Craven is checked. And the puck is worked free, and here come the Mighty Ducks trying to break. It's a 3-on-3 though, as they hit the Chicago blue line. There's Karpov. Nifty move. Certainly looked pretty, but wasn't all that productive. Comes back out the other way. Here's Chelios leading the rush for the Blackhawks. Off for James Black. He's checked by Dallas. Black goes to the corner, spins it in front. Chelios is there. Chelios in, loses his edge. He was taken down. Now for a Monty. Craven throws it up the wall. And it just squeaks out across the line in the center ice.
Anaheim's done a really good job in the second part of this game, second half, of keeping the puck to the outside inside their own zone. In the first period, they gave away 3 or 4 great scoring chances from the slot area. Lucky for them, Stolinkov was great and made all the saves, but they made adjustments, and that's a big part of hockey. Make those adjustments between periods.
Here's Savard trying to break in with Suter. Crowd reacted to a Bob Probert check. One-timer by Savard. Never made it on goal. Savard and Kevin Miller now battle. And we get the whistle, which means Reese Davis time.
Steve, Flames haven't lost to the Blues at home since January of '94. The Flames had a 2-man advantage. They were down 2-0 when Jerome Anguilla pops in his second of the year, and the Blues lead cut in half 2-1. Islanders and Senators, we take you into overtime. Isles trying to rescue this thing. Al McGinnis shoots. Zygmunt Palffy, a great chance, and he fans. Damian Rhodes eventually covers up, and it's a great tie for Ottawa, 3-3.
Thanks very much. You see the shots on goal relatively even until here in the third.
Yeah, that first period there was 11 shots for Chicago. That's what I was talking about. There were some good quality shots that Chicago had, but they came away empty, not real sharp in finishing their plays in this game. Contrary to the first 2 games they had in the season, where they scored a lot of goals and took a lot of pressure off themselves thinking about offense. But they're back into it. They got the goose egg so far in this game.
And again, just comes out to center. Ted Drury poked at it, couldn't get to it, and Plavsic does. And the Mighty Ducks come out ahead. Plavsic shot it in to the Chicago bench. Mikhail Stolinkov, it's a bit of a shocker. I mean, so far, when you think about it, Chicago's fired 24 shots on goal. 18 games played last season for Stolinkov. A 0-4-7-1 record, and a goals against of 3.63. But on any given night, I guess a guy can come up and get hot, and he's done that.
He has shown that, that's for sure. Now, he's not a young guy. He's not a rookie by any means. This is his second full season with Anaheim, but he's almost 31 years old. A couple of weeks, he'll be 31. So he's seen a lot of rubber in his lifetime, albeit over in the Confederation of Independent States and Russia, USSR, whatever you want to call it. But he's over here the last few years, and he's shown that he certainly can compete at the NHL level.
Hanger would kill me if he heard me say this. But he left, I can say it. He's never had a National Hockey League shutout before. Mikhail Stolinkov talking about. The old goaltender's jinx. Goaltenders all over the world saying, I can't believe he said that.
You're right, Panger would kill you for that.
Yeah, well, I mean, Stolinkov is thinking about it. You can be sure the Mighty Ducks. So this would be a very impressive victory to come into Chicago in their home opener and blank them. And to this point they have, with less than 10 minutes to go, past the midway point of the third period. Here's Carney for Chicago. Sent inside the zone, and Plavsic will get to it. Looks like there's going to be icing, but no icing call. Right in front, a shot save! Stolinkov on Bob Probert. And Probert taking a couple of whacks.
I think you weren't the only one that thought that was going to be icing. A couple of Anaheim players standing around there looking for the icing call, and Chelios threw it to the front of the net, and they almost got the tying goal.
And offside at the Anaheim blue. You know, Bob Probert, as you see right there, he's been maybe the top 2-3 Blackhawks tonight, I think. All-around play.
Well, he started stirring it up in the second half of that second period, and it's made a difference. Here he just goes to the net. That was the pass from Chelios that I was talking about when a couple of Duck players, really, who should have been moving and helping out defensively, weren't. Probert came away empty, as has all of his teammates so far in this game. And, you know, Anaheim right now playing their version of the trap, really, in the neutral zone. They're hanging back, making it difficult for Chicago to come out of their zone with any kind of speed and control of the puck. So it might have to be a little dump and chase here for Chicago. Either that or maybe a delay play to a Chelios or a Suter or Weinrich, somebody coming from behind. That sort of thing is what they're looking for from their D this season.
Kevin Todd trying to move it ahead for Anaheim. Loses to Suter. And the Blackhawks try to swing it the other way. Under 9 to go here in the third. Steve Levy, Brian Engblom. Opening night in Chicago for the Blackhawks. And they trail 1-0.
You can see Warren Reichel there had lots of time, just dumped it into the corner, waste some time, get them deep, make them come all the way back down the ice. Just good, solid road hockey.
Are we seeing the lack of offensive skill by Chicago? They seem to be working hard and forcing some of the issues here in the third period. Is it just a lack of skill that we're seeing tonight?
Well, I wouldn't jump the gun and say that it's just a lack of skill. I think they're playing against a team that's playing pretty solid defense. It's sort of a zone defense, which can be tough. So it certainly helps if you have those skill guys who can make the great plays. But you know, you can see this style of play happen throughout the NHL against the most skilled teams in the league, and they have trouble playing against it too. So I wouldn't jump the gun too much here yet.
Panthers seem to do that to other teams as well all the time.
Yeah,
done it to the Rangers a couple of times. Here's Weinrich shot through a screen right in front, and a Monty fanned on it. Black behind the net now for Chicago. Monty again trying to get it to Craven and sweep it free, but the Ducks come away with the loose puck.
Well, there was some great recovery by Anaheim at the very last second there to save themselves a goal against. Certainly they're playing kind of an egg-shaped or defense in their own zone. Everybody back into the slot area. And Chicago having to take the long shots and going for rebounds at times. They're trying to come up with something that's going to work.
Chelios touches up. 7:34 to go in the third. It remains 1-0 the Mighty Ducks. Mighty Ducks come in without a victory. The Blackhawks come in without a loss. We'll see if that holds up. Power play is underway for Anaheim. With 5:19 to go in the game, minute 53 left in the power play, and Monty was looking to break. Olofsson beats him to the puck. Frederick Olofsson has the loose puck for Anaheim. Leaves there for Plavsic. And Adrian Plavsic moves it out ahead. Teemu Selanne beats the Amani check. Back to the point, just a bit too far, squeezed between the 2-point men.
Well, Chicago just lining up across the blue line. Amante came back and just played like a defenseman there, making it difficult for Selanne and the Ducks to make any penetration, and it worked for Chicago. Anaheim not able to get in there and get set up the way they want to, but you can tell there's a cautiousness to Anaheim here. They realize the situation. They know that Chicago has to go for it, as they said, even though they're shorthanded. They're not about to give them any chances going back shorthanded the other way.
And as Kevin Todd leaves the ice, is somebody looking out for him? Is his life working out or what? Off waivers by Pittsburgh the day before the season started, picked up by Anaheim, winds up on the first unit on the power play. Somebody's smiling on Kevin Todd. And he came through with a 3-point effort in Montreal in their last game, a goal and 2 assists.
And Kevin Todd's got some talent, and Anaheim really thinks it's a gift that they were able to pick him up because he's a solid two-way player at center. And we pointed out that center ice is one of the areas they really had to shore up on this Anaheim team.
Comes back out for Bobby Dallas. 4 minutes even left. 35 seconds in the man advantage for Anaheim. Ducks have not been able to do anything with this power play. Here's Sacco towards the side of the net, comes back to the point. Harpa can't keep in, and it comes back out at center. Chicago strategy, I guess, is kill it off, and we'll go from there, right?
Well, I think they have Anaheim on edge, as I said. They're looking to get a chance to throw it back up the ice with a little bit of offense in mind, and Anaheim can feel that. Anaheim's not really in the mode to try and score goals here really at all. They just want a little bit of puck control, hope they get a couple of shots on Belfour and something goes in. But so far, it's just not happening. But Ron Wilson has to be pretty happy. I mean, they got off to a start in the season where they lost in Toronto in their opening game. They felt they could have won. I think they had 3 breakaways. They couldn't score a goal. And then they get into that wild one in Montreal, as you pointed out. Some mistakes were made. They're not used to playing with each other very much. So it was a wild one. And then often, as it happens, you come back from a wild one, and you're in a 1-0 hockey game like this one is, with only 3.5 minutes to go. And Ron Wilson, who has gained an awful lot of respect from that World Cup, his players respect him an awful lot now too, and he had some tough times last year, so it's good to see him with that added confidence, and it will help his team overall this season, there's no doubt.
You mentioned the Ducks not used to playing with each other. In their opening game this season, they had just 7 players in the lineup that were Ducks last season. So that gives you an idea of the turnover they've gone through already. And the 4th season of Mighty Duck hockey, that'd be D4 for moviegoers. Nearly a giveaway there. It comes back out at center. Belfour will play the puck. Power play is over. We're back at 5 aside. 3:15 to go and counting. 3rd period regulation time from Chicago. Krasov has, but to go back to it, couldn't handle. He's back out at center. Sloppy passing by Chicago here when they need to get something going.
Well, the puck's bouncing an awful lot. I don't think the ice is very good out there right now, and there's not much room to work with either. Anaheim doing a good job.
Icing against Chicago to bring it back down the ice. Under 3 to go in this one. A look at Mikhail Stalenkov. 25 saves tonight. He's blanking the Blackhawks to this point.
And his backup in this game, Guy Hebert, who was really the #1 goaltender for the Ducks, who got off to a bad start by his own admission. You see his save percentage is a little lower, certainly, than he would like. And he's a lot slimmer than he was last year. Apparently, Guy Hebert is down 12 to 14 pounds. He picked up the book, The Zone. He has changed his diet. He worked out extremely hard in the offseason. He played well for Team USA and was outstanding in the preseason, but just a little off in the first 2 contests. So it'll be interesting to see whether he plays or Stalenkov plays tomorrow in Colorado.
Hebert has been a slow starter the last 3 seasons, and so have the Mighty Ducks. And probably not a coincidence, but I'm not sure which came first. That's a chicken and egg thing. Because he has started slowly, and maybe that's the reason the Ducks have started slowly.
I think it's duck or egg.
Sorry?
Duck or egg.
Oh, right. Good point. Thank you. Just a cliche there. Actually, now you've made your own cliche. That's very nice. Kept in by Suter. Out at center now. Unable to keep it in. Solani forcing the issue. Coming up on 2:20 to go, regulation time. Steve Levy, Brian Engblom. It's been a good one from Chicago. The Blackhawks home opener, and they have yet to manage a goal. Unable to beat Mikhail Stalenkov to this point.
And Chicago struggling here. Tough to carry the puck more than about 8 feet without a purple jersey in front of you, and that's what you're supposed to do when you're on the road. Anaheim doing an excellent job here through the last 10 minutes. Chicago players are starting to hear the boo birds here in Chicago. They want to see some action offensively. There's no room.
Here's Gary Suter. Threw it off the skate of Sutter. I can't remember the last time Chicago connected on a pass tape to tape. It's been a few minutes. Chelios takes the body. Here's a chance. Reichel whistled one wide of the net.
I think they may have hit the outside of the post. Reichel can really shoot it when he gets time. He had lots of time there. But Eddie Belfour made the save.
90 seconds to go. You see time remaining in regulation. Here's Probert back of the net. Comes across. Here's Suter. Wrist shot. And Savard was on the doorstep trying to get a piece of it. Comes back for Suter. Chicago's pulled the goalie. Shot on. Looked like it was blocked at the defense. Blackhawks have the empty net extra attacker on the ice. Bob Probert has the puck. Minute to go in this one. 1-0 Anaheim. And the Mighty Ducks are able to clear. Here's Alex Hicks breaking in the empty netter goal. And the Mighty Ducks take a 2-0 lead, and they will win this one. Alex Hicks gets the empty netter.
Some sweet execution here by Anaheim. Even though Chicago had pulled the goaltender and had the puck deep inside Anaheim's zone, Anaheim had the puck where they wanted it, along the boards, not in the middle of the ice. They get the dump out of the zone. All the Chicago players are caught. There you see everybody, all the congestion. Chicago tries to dump it deep. There's the great flip shot out of the zone. And Hicks is onside. He's able to walk it down almost with very little pressure and just scoop it into the empty net. 2-0 Anaheim. Well-deserved, good execution there by the Ducks.
Alex Hicks is a pretty great story. Division III walk-on, was never drafted, and even better, his dad Wayne played for the Chicago Blackhawks. They won the Stanley Cup with them. Chicago's last Stanley Cup win in 1961. And Hicks gets the empty net. Under 50 to go. 2-0, the Mighty Ducks lead. And now really all that's in question will be the shutout for Mikhail Stalenkov. Drury has for Anaheim. Trying to backhand it off the glass. Couldn't clear. Russell keeps in for Chicago. Back for Chance. Here's Krivokrasov. Back behind the net. Grodman throws it out in front. Karpa takes him off the play. Chance now forcing the issue. Ruchin for Anaheim, and he clears. With 10 seconds, it will roll. And they will. We'll call it icing. 7.5 seconds to go.
Well, I wouldn't have given much for Anaheim's chances based on history against the Chicago Blackhawks since Anaheim has come into the league. 2-10-1 against Chicago coming into this game in the history of the Anaheim Mighty Duck franchise. But they come in here and they're ahead 2-0 with only 7.5 seconds to go. And there's the biggest reason. Mikhail Stalenkov. Anaheim has executed very well after a somewhat shaky first period. But for the most part, very well-deserving marks in what looks like, well, you already said the word. I won't say it. You already said the word once, but they're winning 2-0.
You know, if you're a team broadcaster, you got to fly around with these guys in the charter, I understand. We play no favorites here on ESPN2. Hey, go out on a limb, get crazy with me tomorrow. Tomorrow night in Colorado, Hebert was scheduled to start. Who starts for the Mighty Ducks tomorrow night?
Probably because of back-to-back games and the travel they have to do, I'd say they probably stick with Hebert. But Stelenka, well, he played great tonight.
Final 4 seconds of this one. And that'll do it. The fans are already out on Madison Street. The goal was Hicks from Marshall, the empty netter at 1907. But Mikhail Stelenkov is the story in this one. The 26-save shutout for Stelenkov, the first National Hockey League shutout for Stelenkov, and an all-around terrific effort for him and the Mighty Ducks. Anaheim's first win of the season, Chicago's first loss of the season. The Mighty Ducks win by a score of 2-0. The home opener for the Blackhawks doesn't work out their way.